Hello, all you hardcore boxing fans out there. How you doing? It's Rusty from Poker's Corner, the voice of hardcore boxing. Today I'm joined by my good friend Kent from Northern Ireland. How are you doing, Kent?
Crushing it, bruv.
Are you crushing it? Bro, crushing it, bro. PB's at gym. Bro, eating seats. Bro. What do you think about it all, Kent? Let me know.
I've got a theory on it, and I don't think anyone's mentioned it yet in any of the platforms. So I'm going to go back, and I remember he said about his car had heated seats. Possibly he's been sitting in heated seats for too long, and it's fried his testicles.
And he's got no testosterone in him, so he's had to go
And,
out
and
and
he's got no testosterone whatsoever,
yeah.
and that's the problem.
Mm. Yeah, I see where you're coming from. Uh, who's gave him this?
You know, boxing now, there's so many people involved in boxing camps now, you know, and everybody says he has a trainer. Is the trainers now really in control of the camps? You look,
Uh,
there's even sports medicine people are getting involved now. You know, you've got sports doctors, you've got strength and conditioning coaches, you've got bag carriers, you've got training camps now isn't the way they were way back where it would have been a coach and a coaching assistant. There's so many people involved in the training camp. I actually feel sorry for Tony Sims. So I
why?
do. I just think I, I
Well,
just think there's so many people involved in that camp now that it's impossible for the head coach to take control of it. You know, I don't think the head coaches now are actually in control of these fighters. I think the fighters are actually in control now, a bit like football, a bit like a bit like agents in football are actually in control of what's going on with the players.
yeah, yeah. Uh, do you feel that Conor Ben? I mean, it's in his system, isn't it? Right. So if he's not took it, it means that he's been spiked, doesn't it?
Well, how can one tablet spike you and be in your system for so long?
No. I mean, this is how I look at it. Right. There's trainers out there that have been accused of giving people performance enhancing drugs in the past. That's fact. You know that. I know
Yeah,
that. Now, the only way for them to deal with this now and have a chance of getting off with it is to somebody's got to come out and say, look, I put it in his drink because I wanted him to perform better and knock Eubank out because I know how much it meant it'll mean to his family. Yeah, it's cheating and I'm willing to be prosecuted. Somebody's going to have to come out and do that and be took to court and sent to prison for it. Now, who's going to want to do jail time for some little jumped up upstart, some spoilt brat? Nobody's going to want to do jail time, are they?
no,
Now, who wants to do
no.
jail time for somebody? I've done it, but only because it was the right thing to do, and I'm from a mining village. But who down there in Essex is going to want to do porridge for Conor Ben? They're not going to do, are they? So that husband's done a runner, hasn't he? Shut his socials down and gone, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So me and Julian think that he'll be patsy, but we don't know, do we? But I'd like to get him on an interview. Who knows? Well, why not? Well, why not? I don't see anybody else trying to get him on one. They won't even interview Eddie Hearn. Nobody will. He's not letting him, is he?
Can't actually see anybody doing that, to be honest with you. If somebody does that within the coaching setup, that means Matchroom are accountable. You know, who pays, it's all down to actually who pays the person in the camp. It's Matchroom Gym that they train out of. So I can't see anybody taking responsibility in that. The ramifications would be way, way too much. Eddie Hearn said something the other day about there could be a possibility that the sample had been pre-contaminated. Where did he have the sample? Where was the sample taken? There could be cross contamination. I don't know if they're going to go down the line of yes, it can be used as a female fertility drug. Maybe they're going to say something like maybe his wife was taking this stuff and they done a test in the kitchen or there was traces of it, something like that there. But I can't see anybody wanting to taking the rap for that. There would be too much. There'd be too much money involved. Court, jail. That's extreme, Russell.
Yeah.
That is extreme.
What did you think about how it were all handled? Where they tried to get it over the line and Callum Sauerland came out defending what Conor Bennett took and these other guys promoter. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. Have you?
I thought it was absolute. It's greed of the
It's
highest order.
the
Absolute
horse,
greed.
Callum Sauerland. Oh, and you, well, we know what you are, don't we? But Callum, I had you down as this man about town, but makes you wonder if you've even got a few quid, doesn't it? Because you were like
It,
running around like Oliver Twist. Please, sir, more. Want you?
it,
Want
it was embarrassing.
you?
I think when you look at it, I think Eubank Senior come out and said something that he was really disappointed in the promoters. Basically, he was talking in riddles as normal, but what I took out of it was even his own promoter was willing to let him go into the fight with the rehydration clause against somebody whose A sample has had traces of steroids. How can you as a manager or a promoter let one of your fighters in a fight with somebody that has had that in their system? I've never ever seen it in boxing. I know there's been cases and times where in America, like likes of Shane Mosley was found with EPO, but before the De La Hoya fight, there's been other instances. But if that was a normal fight or another world title fight, do you think that they would have wanted that fight to go ahead?
No, I don't.
And the fact that they even done the presser on what day was it? Thursday. They even let them come out and do the presser as if to say it was gonna go ahead. The media workout, the media workout's absolutely pointless. It's just for the media to come and take press, take photographs. They let that go ahead, knowing that there's a great possibility the fight's not gonna happen. The undercard come out and done their media workout where they weren't even allocated tickets to sell. It was just it was a real it made the British Boxing Board of Control and it made the promoters look really, really bad. And I think British boxing is going to take a long time. For when was the last time there was a controversy this big in British boxing?
I can't remember when Joshua kicked off. Well, he didn't kick off. He did that speech, didn't he, after the second Usyk fight? I think that were a big trending stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it's turned out really, really bad. I think even the fact that they were trying to look at another organization to put the fight on. Kala Eddie has said this didn't happen, and Kala said something along the lines that they were looking at a different body to put it ahead. It just goes to show you what clout do the British Boxing Board of Control actually have anymore.
No.
You know, the fact is they had this. Why was this not released in September when the test come back? Why was it kept under wraps for this amount of time?
I personally think that maybe the board I had a chat with Eddie, and Eddie took something from the chat, thinking, "Well, I've got away with that one again, but we won't get away with a third one." Maybe he thought because he got away with white one, didn't they, with Rivers? That was sprung on the board though on was it on fight day or something? Weighing
Yeah, yeah.
fight day
The Friday.
on the Friday the day before after weighing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So they got away with that one. He must have thought we're all right on this one. They won't dare pull it. We're threatening my lawyers. Well, they did, didn't they? But I think maybe somebody will be behind the scenes saying, "Here, get that pulled because there could be liabilities here. Could end up being sued." Or I don't. It's a very dodgy ground, isn't it? When you're letting somebody get it ring who's juiced up, they're all juiced out their heads. Well, he's juiced out his head, obviously, if he's on that. And what if he hurts him? Or what if Conor Benn got beat but Brock Eubanks knows or something? You could have lawsuits, couldn't you? And so they played it safe, and it's probably cost. They've probably done £1 million in $1 million, 800 grand to $1 million or something. They had all the things around London and Manchester, didn't they? Them big billboards, digital billboards. They're quite dear, and I do know a bit about prices of them. And they're in good spots. That one that I saw in Manchester last week were in a fantastic spot. I felt that they've spent on it. They got it out there. Listen, it were all good to go, and they got caught out, didn't they?
Even the media stuff that they did, they put a lot of documentaries out on Matchroom, on the Zone. They even there was even a BBC documentary that was made that was meant to go out on BBC after the news. So that was prime time television. It was pulled as well. But the thing is, see when they say, yeah, we've done a lot of money, they've got insurance. There's insurance in that there. They will be able to claim some of that back. And the things like the billboards and the recording for the documentaries, that's all tax deductible. So they can claim all that back at the end of the year. They haven't really done anything on production. That's all tax deductible. But you look at the pay-per-view, so you're looking between 1 to 1.2 million. That's about £80 million. You look at the gate could have been up to around, I know it was only the O2, so you're talking between what, 5 to 8 million. Then you're looking, the channels all around the world would have got it. So you're talking up 100 million here, Russell.
No, I don't know about that. 160 countries. That's what they sell it to. When they do Sky, I don't know what DAZN do. Don't forget, we're talking DAZN here, we're not talking Sky. Man, if they'd done 500,000 buys at 28 quid, what's that?
Oh.
Oh, mate, it's a lot of money in it. Do you know what I mean? If it were 1 million, it'd be 28 million, wouldn't it? If we're half of that, Ken, 14 million, wouldn't it? So if you've got 14 million in pot there, and gate and all other stuff, there might only be 20 in pot. That's all. They've probably done 1 million in, so that leaves 19. So the fight's still there. People are still going to want it, but is it tainted, and would they still get the same sort of people paying for it, even though what's gone on this time? Because people scorned, aren't they?
A lot of stuff was coming out in media and all, and people were putting stuff up. Ben and Eubank 3. It wasn't Ben and Eubank 3. It wasn't. It was Ben and Eubank Junior and 1. Wasn't Ben Eubank 3. Some people were billing at that. I disagree with that. And they didn't really have any rivalry like their parents. They were just fighting because of their parents. No, I actually think the fight's bigger now. I actually think the fight's bigger now because it's had this controversy. It's had the chaos of last week. If the fight is actually made, there is actually a backstory for them to fight now. So in a crazy type of way, I actually think the fight, if it happens, it will be bigger now. It'd be a lot bigger than the first fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Now that all depends and what actually happens with Conor Benn. Where's the B sample? Why is the B sample not been tested yet? It's the same. It comes from the same sample. Where is it? Where's this B sample? What's going to happen? Will he get a 2-year ban? Will he get a backdated 6-month ban? Will he get a 4-year ban? What's going to happen?
I don't know, mate. Well, this is how I look at it. Nobody seems to kick off for the B samples, do they?
It's coming up to a week. When was this broke? Last Wednesday or Thursday that this
Well,
happened?
23rd of September, they said, didn't they? They all found out, but I think they knew a bit before that because Old Man Eubank were coming out with stuff a good few weeks ago, certainly before 23rd, going on about how it's really dangerous. And it was like he wanted to tell us something, wasn't it? Do you think?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Because he were
He was
all for
kind
it,
of
wasn't he, for months? He were all for it for weeks, so he wasn't about this rehydration. And then all of a sudden they started going off on it being dangerous and deaths and the ring's a dark place and all this. And I thought he's trying to tell us something, man. I'm not going to say, oh yeah, I knew. I don't know. I didn't. I thought, no. I wouldn't have had him down for that. I wouldn't have had him down for that. I just thought he had that gene in him like his father. But, there's a lot of stuff online, isn't there? There's people coming out and saying stuff about his dad and recreational drugs. They haven't said no about steroids. But if you take recreational drugs, might take something else. You don't know, do you? But you can't say he has because he hadn't been done for it. But he did get tested after the McClellan fight because he collapsed, didn't he?
it collapsed right before he went on to the one backstage. And that's another thing that has tainted, the whole family, which is disappointing because I remember watching that fight and as brutal as it was nobody, many pundits before the fight actually thought that Ben would win. None. And McClellan at the time was probably the pound for pound best fighter in the world at the time, and he pulled that win back. But that in itself, wasn't tested off after the fight. That's disappointing hearing that now after all these years. But it's just been a really, really disappointing week for boxing. And I was thinking, people were saying to me, yeah, I don't think this fight's going to happen. Somebody's going to pull out. Will I know there was the whole big bitter split between Eubank Senior and Junior when they left Matchroom the first time. Will they pull out, Wednesday, Thursday because of the rehydration clause? And it was true. It didn't happen. It was just so disappointing. And I don't see the point now, looking back on it. What's the point in using UCAD now? What's the actual point in using UCAD now?
Well, do you mean VADA or UCAD?
UCAD, he failed the VADA test. He didn't fail the UCAD test. What is the point in using UCAD now?
Because UCAD obviously are not good at testing, not as stringent, are they, as the other ones?
Why use it then? It's the
What?
thing with VADA is VADA are just there for findings of a test. So they test the athlete and they take the findings and they give the findings to the promoters or the bodies that they belong to. But I think everything needs tightened up. I think if you're using, I think UCAD has looked really, really bad in this because do they even test that substance or did they miss the substance? When was the VADA test and when was the UCAD test?
VADA test was 30th of August. It's a 48-hour turnaround for the result. I heard in an interview they said on the 1st they got the results. But I've also heard somebody say on September the 23rd, everybody knows. So it's all a bit murky, isn't it? And you've got people saying, yeah, well, Connor phoned Chris and Chris said he didn't and Callum and Eddie said he did. Look, everybody's decided just to not do interviews now because they're all getting muggled up with the stories. So they've just shut it down, haven't they? A bit like Fury with millions to charity for homeless in America. Shut it down, and that's what these are doing, isn't it? Now they're trying to open it, it'll go away, but I don't think it will now because it's just gathering momentum, isn't it? You know what I mean?
The thing that really disappointed me with Calla was when they found out about the test and the test come back that obviously they found something in the A sample. why was the rehydration clause still allowed to be in there? Why would you let that as a manager? And Frank Smith, what's he said about the whole thing? You know, Frank Swift does he not live with Chris Eubanks' sister? Where's he come out and said anything there?
No, he can't. I think people are over exaggerating his role. All he does is fly about and get people to sign contracts. It doesn't mean he's a big mover and shaker. That's all. It's not a yeah, good set that contract to and get it signed. He doesn't strategize up contracts and those. What? Big negotiator, Frank Smith. Do me a favour. Hearns negotiate everything. And if Frank Smith does negotiate it, he doesn't sign off on it. They will. Multimillionaires don't let kids sign off on stuff. They don't, mate. He's been there how long? How come they're not letting him put shows on and give Eddie a rest? Because he's been there years. He's supposed to be next gen, isn't he? He's supposed to be next gen. Well, why don't they let him loose? Because he doesn't know what he's doing, does he? It's bottom line. That's what I've heard. He doesn't know what he's doing. Rising Star and all that. I think they've been watching too much at Sopranos. Rising Star. Do me a favour, man. They've been caught bang to rights. Lots of them. Do you know what I mean? And now, obviously, he's in a predicament in his spotted dick that his birds, brothers, we're going to get somebody setting about him with gear in him. So he's proper at middling. Look, it's all blown up in the faces, hasn't it? They tried to pull it off and get it gone, get it on telly, and get the money in the bank. That's what they tried to do, and they come unstuck. Pure greed. Greed. You know greed. You know what greed does, don't you, Ken? It reaches inside. Reaches inside. It makes you do things that you wouldn't normally do. That's what money does to you, mate.
I think it's the whole. You look at what's happened to Matchroom this last 2 years. They're not on Sky no more. They left Sky to go to DAZN. They thought it was going to be game changing. They thought that DAZN was going to end up the Netflix of sport. The whole BT thing was out there that they thought they were going to just walk in and buy BT and have the football and have everything with the boxing. You look at the Anthony Joshua project, it's destroyed, it's gone. And you look at the whole Conor Benn project as well. They tried to create that project in Conor Benn. It's destroyed now as well, Russell. It's completely finished. You know, do you think there's any way back? Do you think he will come back and have that momentum? Will he have the media? Will he have the backing?
I think
that he had before.
I think that if Conor Benn comes back, I don't think you'll see an explosive Conor Benn. I think you'll see him with knockovers and go into points again. That's what I think. Because he weren't icing people a bit back, were he? Then all of a sudden he just turned into this roadman killer, didn't he?
It's really hard to say. When you look at the amount of training that a boxer does, it's mostly aerobic. You've got your runs, you've got your track work, you've got your fat burning runs, you're in the gym training, you're doing your circuits, you're doing your pad work, you're doing sparring, all that's aerobic. So when you're doing so much aerobic activity and you're building muscle, you've got extreme hypertrophy and you're still maintaining low body fat, plus you're knocking people out. You're crushing it in every day. Every session's, you're killing every session, so they say. How is that possible, Russell? How is that possible?
I don't know, mate. I don't know. It's obviously because if he's juiced out in his mind, but then again, it could come back as contaminated, couldn't it? I mean, it's like a who done it, isn't it? It is, though, isn't it? So who done it?
Yeah, and that's the story that Eddie said the other day, that we need to find out how this happened. It could have been a contaminated sample. That sample could have been contaminated. I think along the lines they're going to say that, but how can they say that it was for fertility when they've had a child a year and a half, 2 years ago. So there didn't seem to be a problem then, you know.
Somebody's shouting there. I'm filming you, clown. Don't you, Adam? Ooh. I'm next door trying to be cheeky.
He's actually got a really good Adam Booth impersonation. I think he's better than the both of us, Russell.
Better than
You need
you,
to
mate.
you need to get practicing.
Don't you, Adam? Move the dark road. He's the bear. I like Adam Move. He talks a good game, doesn't he? Do you want to go on to link 2, Kent?
Yep.
Well then, lad.